Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. ChooseWood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Sarah Fenske. It is a truth universally acknowledged among everyone who's ever tried to wear a mask for more than a few minutes. Masks are uncomfortable, particularly on the ears, particularly for people wearing them nonstop for 8 or 9 hour shifts. Yet wearing masks is non-negotiable, especially for these frontline workers. Enter Glen Anderson. He's an associate professor of three-dimensional design at the University of Missouri, St. Louis, and he decided to treat uncomfortable masks as a three-dimensional design challenge. Anderson ended up fashioning surgical mask ear savers that can be made on a simple 3D printer, and healthcare workers say they're not just an ear saver, but a lifesaver. Rachel Sarenko is a neonatal pediatric specialist at St. Louis Children's Hospital. When her employer first began requiring masks for the totality of 12-hour shifts, she says she was in a lot of pain. She described to our producer, Evie Hemphill, earlier this week how she felt as she made her way through 3 consecutive days of 12-hour mask wearing.
My ears were killing me. Like, it wasn't comfortable, the other ones, but now it's just like we wear it every day that we work. Even if you have a few days off, your ears don't really get to recover, and like that string is apparently very not very soft for wearing that for that long of time. That third day when it really hurt is when I actually had, what I did that third day was I took 2 rubber bands and a paper clip and like kind of jerry-rigged it.
And that's Rachel Sarenko of St. Louis Children's Hospital. Then a colleague offered Rachel Glen Anderson's ear saver. And in addition to providing comfort, she said it was also a morale boost.
I mean, it actually, shows that people do care what we're doing and that we are making a difference. It kind of gets hard when you work your 12-hour shift. There's not as many people in the hospital in general because visitor policy and everything, and so you don't get to see everyone. You don't get to see all your family. You're stuck at home when you're not working, unless you're going out and venturing out to the grocery store. But if you spend any time on social media, it's there's just so much going on right now that's not exactly the nicest platform right now to be on. But to show that people actually care, really care what we're doing and see that what we're doing is, something good.
And that's Rachel Sarenko raving about Glen Anderson's ear savers. And joining us today to share the backstory on these devices is Glen Anderson. Glen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So walk us through how this idea came about. What got you interested in manufacturing these ear savers?
Well, there was a call out a while back. The university was looking for any type of solution, some type of mask solution, and they had heard that 3D printing could possibly produce, some type of quick mask. And we quickly found out that was really difficult with the type of printers we had. They don't print extremely fast for complicated objects. And so that kind of stopped very quickly. But I didn't want to stop there. I knew there was something else we could do. There had to be another way we could help out. And I came across another 3D printer on a forum, someone who was making ear savers. And they were little small, little clips. And I thought, wow, I could do that. I could probably do that a little bit better. And I think what we've created is much better.
Now, we have a picture of what you've created on our website. That's stlpublicradio.org if people want to go check that out. But for people who are listening, rather than sitting in front of a desktop computer, what do these ear savers look like?
So they're about 8 inches long, and they have a little tab on either side, on the top and the bottom on either side, left and right. And those allow you to clip the strings that would normally go behind your ear and over the top of your ear on either side into those and basically bypass your ear. And then we've added a little phrase in the middle. Some say, RT's rock. We have STL strong.
And
There's
when
like
you say,
47 different versions.
RT's rock, those are respiratory therapists?
So my wife is a respiratory therapist, and that was a request directly from her. So that was probably the first after the "You've got this" and "Hang in there" and we're doing this together type stuff. RT's rock was the number one request from her.
That's great. So these have these positive messages on them, but the main idea is they're sort of taking pressure off the ears. They're spreading it around.
Exactly. Yeah. So it keeps that band from pushing on the back of the ear and then kind of irritating all those nerves. It radiates. If you wear one of those masks, I know people wear them for lawn work a lot. If you wear them for too long, they push on the ear and then you feel it all the way down into your jaw. It's really uncomfortable. And then the skin irritation is almost worse after, wearing it several days in a row.
And so your wife, she's somebody who needs these herself as a respiratory therapist. Was she your guinea pig as you were trying to fine tune this design?
Yes, she and her office mates were trying different sizes and kinds for a day or two. I sent several different versions with her to work, and they were the testers.
And I imagine they were pretty enthusiastic testers. They were all in for the idea behind this.
Oh yeah, no, and they were very straightforward and honest about what did and did not work.
So when it didn't work, they were telling you that.
Oh yes, yeah. I definitely heard how it did or did not work every day.
Now I'm going to play some audio from another healthcare worker using your design. He's the respiratory therapy manager at Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. His name is Nick Beck. And he noted that while many medical staff are used to wearing surgical masks for a short amount of time, wearing them for an entire long shift, that is a different beast.
Even as a healthcare worker, you're not used to wearing these all day long. So the masks are different sizes, and sometimes you get a lucky one, and it's a little bit larger, so it fits loosely. But it's like a burning feeling, or just you can tell it's pressure, and you can tell if you wore it a couple more days in a row that you might even have some breakdown behind your ears. So putting this plastic strap behind your head really takes that pressure off the ear, and also kind of makes it a little tighter fit around your face, and so yeah, it makes it tolerable, honestly.
And that's Nick Beck at Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. And he mentioned that you have branded these plastic straps, as you mentioned, and just how excited he was that you did that for the department.
Pre-COVID, respiratory therapy doesn't get a lot of publicity. So he sent over some, they say RT Hero or RT Rocks, just some good sayings there that kind of make people smile. So it was a good touch.
And that, again, is Nick Beck at Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. Now, Glenn, I understand you've now printed more than 2,500 of these. Where are they all going?
Oh, they're all over. We've sent some to Minnesota. We've sent them to Children's Hospital in Kansas City. We've sent several around town, police agencies, several different hospitals. Somebody just picked up a big batch today. So they're all over the place.
Is this just happening through word of mouth?
Yeah, at this moment, yes. Just word of mouth. If you know who's making them, that's how it works.
Now I understand you're printing these at your house. It's not like you're in some fancy UMSL lab. Are you able to keep up with the demand?
So we do 30 an hour at max. And so I luckily I don't have a finished basement. So I built a little space to make these with the 3D printers from work. We're not on campus for everyone's safety. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I've got these at home running.
And so what kind of expenses involved with this? I mean, you've explained you had to even modify your basement to do this. You've now printed 2,500 of these. Are you selling them at this point to help recoup some of that?
We're not selling them at all. I have had donations. I'm putting the design online. The design is on thingiverse.com.
So you're just sharing this? Just anybody
I'm
can
just sharing
go there?
it with anybody. Anybody can go there and download. There's almost 50 right now, different designs, and I get requests on a regular basis for special designs. Like we did the Maine's Veteran Hospital. Somebody asked from American Airlines. They were printing them for employees there, things like that. So, I do those because I can't possibly print all of them.
So you will then create the way that other people can use that pattern to print them themselves.
Exactly, yeah. So I create the source file, and then they can put them into their own 3D printer and print them out.
I gotta say, this is pretty remarkable. I mean, not only are you printing all of these yourself in your own basement, you're also creating designs for other people so they can have custom ear savers. I mean, this just seems like a ton of work you're putting into this thing. You're not tempted to try to make a buck off this?
Okay, so there are people out there selling them, and ours are really not meant for the general population.
How so?
There are people, we're putting these out for first responders.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it's something for me to do. I send my wife out to a hospital every day, and she's doing something, and I feel like I could do something for the effort too.
Well, we really appreciate that. I mean, this is truly noble work. I don't want to suggest that you should be trying to cash in, but I'm so impressed by that. I understand you're also still teaching your UMSL courses in three-dimensional design, production, and programming. You're just doing that from home. Have your students been curious about this particular project?
Yeah, I've shared with them what I'm doing, and they're very supportive. So they know what's going on, and they've seen them. I've shown them off during class to them over my webcam.
Seems like this it's a great lesson here, how design can solve problems.
Exactly. I wish we could be together and work on this as a team, but unfortunately, the situation as it is, we can't do that.
Yeah, I imagine something like three-dimensional design, that's got to be hard to teach in 2 dimensions, but you're hanging in there.
We are. We just completed the semester, and it was a very interesting end to the semester, and they did a really excellent job.
Now, I got to ask you about one more thing. I understand that you have twin 3-year-olds at home, which honestly feels like you should be busy enough with just that, but good for you. You have extra time and energy. So many of us are worried about getting our kids to wear masks at schools and daycares going forward as people begin to reopen. Do you think there's anything that can be done with pediatric masks or with some of these problems that parents are going to be dealing with that you and your 3D team could take on?
Yeah, I don't know. We were fitting our kids for masks the other day. My mother had sewn masks for them, and we were trying some of the smaller ear savers on them. And they work, but, getting them, we've given them a little bit of information about what's going on, but, how much they retain and how much we really want to tell them is different.
That's so hard with 3-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, they want to go to grandma's, and they want to go to the grocery store, and they want to go out to eat, and, it's hard. It's hard on them.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry you're dealing with that, but I am also very grateful for these efforts that you're making. So, Glen Anderson, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
All right. Thank you for having me on.
And Glen, again, is an associate professor of 3D design. That's at the University of Missouri, St. Louis. And he also invented this mask ear saver, which is now out there if people want to get this design. There's information about that on our website, stlpublicradio.org. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio. That's 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. ChooseWood.com.